Hello, and welcome to the BCM podcast. Get my microphone up here. Get it right on that pillow.
The pillow guy?
Yes, it's my pillow. Look at him. He loves that pillow. That's I don't know if you guys knew this, but that's where the pillows. That's how they're made.
It's Trump's rump.
He's got extra, plenty to go around. So the BCM podcast. Welcome. I am Brad Swail. To my top. Let's do it there. I still haven't figured out how this works. Charles Blain. And Michael Searle, right there. You can see we have our X tags in there, so follow us there. Of course, subscribe while you're here. It only takes a minute. You can turn on notifications as well. All of that is down there. Charles can point to it because I can't figure out where I'm supposed to point on this stuff. Yeah, well, are you pointing to it when you do that? I don't know. Michael, I don't know what you're pointing at. All right, so I don't think it's that type of show. How is everybody today? ¿Cómo estás, Charles? Carlos.
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Oh, muy bien. Muchas gracias. I just want you to practice your Spanish because you're about to go on an international trip just on a whim whenever you feel like it to, what did you say? Did you say it was a shithole country?
I never said that. I would never say that about any country, actually.
I think that there's a few out there, but you're going to Guatemala. You said it was a third world country, and I don't. Is it technically?
I think it's I think they reclassified as a developing nation.
Oh, okay. Well, aren't they all? You know, when you think about it,
aren't we all just constantly developing? Shouldn't
we're
we
not
striving for more.
What are we? Are we? What's it called? There's a word for it. Oh God, deindustrialization, of course, but there's another word for it that's getting real popular. But how are you, Michael? I'll think of it.
I'm good. Should we address the elephant that is not in the room?
Degrowth is what I was thinking of. Degrowth is a movement that's coming up real hard. They're pushing it real hard, and it's going to really screw things over. What's the elephant in the room?
The elephant that's not in the room.
Oh.
We had originally scheduled Mr. Briscoe Kane, State Representative, District 128. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
For the show, but he had to cancel because he had bigger fish to fry today.
Yes,
but we'll be rescheduling him for a date soon, and we'll let you know what day that's going to be.
All I have to say to Briscoe Kane is you go to the dance with the girl that already said yes. Okay.
Well, he had two girls.
Well,
yes. One was way prettier.
If you watch this episode before, I guess, I don't know, the next hour or so, you should go to his rally with the governor. But you'll probably miss it if you're watching this. So.
Governor Abbott calls and just you got to drop this podcast. I get it. It's fine. I would never abandon you two for Governor Abbott. Okay.
I would.
Yeah, same.
Please.
I'm not even the hugest Governor Abbott fan, but if he called and was like, "Hey, can we do something?" and I had to record BCM, you guys would be hosting this show by yourselves.
Who is an elected official?
You invite us?
Yeah, seriously.
Huh?
Why wouldn't you invite us?
Oh, good point. If I had +2, I don't know that you would be the 2.
No, you don't ask. Number one.
Wait, who is an elected official, Texas or otherwise, that you would not drop the podcast for?
Oh, good question.
Brad.
The ones I really dislike, I would definitely drop the podcast for because I really dislike them. So it would have to be somebody kind of like that. I'm like,
I say Nikki Haley.
If Nikki Haley invited me, I would go. I mean, I not because I enjoy what she says or I don't think that she's a witch. Why wouldn't I go? I mean, that would be content for the next show.
I mean,
fair.
I would say any of the members of the Austin City Council, I would schedule them for after the podcast.
Yeah, probably so. And I just so we're clear, I know Michael's not this gracious, but if I got invited to anything, I wouldn't ask for a +2. I would say I have a +2, and you two would be invited.
Same here.
You're welcome.
And if they said no, I would not go.
Exactly. So if Donald Trump invites me to Mar-a-Lago, I'm going to be like, yeah, I got a couple bag boys that they have to come as well.
Are we talking about something specific?
I don't know. Are we? Is that TBD? Oh my God, Michael Searle.
Are we recording the next episode at Mar-a-Lago? What does Mar-a-Lago even mean?
I think it's the what's Lago? Is that like a swamp by the sea?
Oh, is that what it is? Oh,
I don't know what log. I think it's lake by the sea.
Lake by the sea. That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh my God, you need to work on your Spanish. All right, so I'm hosting today. So what are we talking about? We got of course, the Iowa caucuses are coming up. We had the riveting debate that I'm sure everyone just could not get enough of between the two star candidates, Ron DeSantis and everyone's favorite, Nikki Haley.
Sorry.
We have some new alien sightings, which I know that Michael is, I think that's what he was pointing to earlier. There's some Uber protests in the city of Austin, and I think we might talk about some workout routines. But before we get to just, personal stuff, to switch it up a little bit, before we get to any of that, I know Michael is really excited about this because he's a stockholder in Raytheon. There's some escalation going on in the Middle East. I think that we just bombed some Houthi targets. And I think Lloyd Austin, he directed that from his hospital bed.
Ooh.
That's what I hear.
Can you please explain to us why you support this as a Raytheon stockholder?
Because I like money.
Oh, it matters.
Make it rain.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the details that well, but what I heard was the UK and US were bombing some targets in Yemen.
Okay.
There's been a long ongoing conflict there where we've been supporting the Saudi government to bomb the Houthi rebels, but it sounds like due to the Israel-Palestine conflict and their escalation that we are escalating. That always scares me. I mean, I always bring up the first thing that comes to mind is why is Congress not voting on this first, as Article 1, of the Constitution says we should be. But it worries me too. It's just another escalation, another war under the current administration, and it concerns me in terms of where it could lead to. But that's all. That's about all I know.
Where could it lead, Michael? Come on.
World War. I think if you look across the world, the number of conflicts that are rising.
Soy cucks. Come on, World War. You scared?
I just don't enjoy war. I don't.
Sounds like someone needs to get their man card back.
So I think if you look across the world, there are a lot of conflicts that are popping up, and you can't. The administration or lack thereof has a lot to do with that. I think you have these conflicts in Latin America that are popping up. You have the conflicts in the Middle East. You have China testing their limits. You have all these things that are happening. And why is it? It's because we don't have proactive leadership. And I don't mean proactive leadership as in going out and preemptively bombing people. I just mean leadership that people are actually afraid of.
Yeah. For me, it's kind of, I struggle talking about that, not on this show, obviously, because I'm free to just speak my mind. I know you guys would never censor me. But when I talk to boomer cons about this, they're like, yeah, Iran and the Houthis, they've been, needling us and attacking ships and stuff like that. And, we're being big pussies because we're not responding. Right. Why hasn't Biden, sent in the military and just bomb the fuck out of those guys? And you hear shit like that from the Ben Shapiros of the world. We need to get involved. Stop this shit. Iran's an existential threat. Yada yada. Nikki Haley, right? I'm just like, we went through 20 years of this war on terror and how many trillions of dollars, and nothing fucking happened. We still have this. Everything is worse, and the economy sucks. We got homeless Americans sleeping on the street. Some of them are attacking people in Austin with machetes.
Saw that.
It's why do we have to do this? Why is it? I feel like they think that it's like a position of weakness to say, let's slow down. Maybe we should think about this a little bit more. How do we do this without getting into a war? And I get it. We need to respond somehow. We can't let them just fucking, stop all trade through the Red Sea and attack our military assets. We don't want that either. So what's the answer? What do we do?
Well, the answer is the opposite of what we have been doing, which is not to get more engaged, to get less engaged. Had we not had bases or military presence there, it wouldn't be vulnerable to attack from the Houthis. So I know the I guess logical thing in their mind to do is, well, they attacked us, we got to attack them back. Well, that just makes us even more vulnerable. So shouldn't we be doing the opposite, which is bringing most of our presence home so that we're not vulnerable, and then we could spend those resources here on the problems that we face as a country, which are significant, as you point out. I mean, I think any reasonable person looking at this, that's their perspective. But in terms of the people at the top, the Nikki Haleys of the world, well, she's not even thinking for herself, but those types, the Joe Biden, Nikki Haley, Hillary Clintons, they just believe this dogma that the U.S. has to be the empire of the world and the policeman of the world, and we have to, bomb everybody that steps out of line, and despite
strength. But the thing is, too many of them, it's not even just them. You do have a lot of older folks who do believe that we need to be there because if we're not, we're isolationists. And I'm just talking about like regular older. And I think it is a transition in our generation that kind of leans more toward that libertarian-esque side which I don't even think it's libertarian. I think it's just common sense that we don't need to be everywhere. And when we are everywhere, we're opening ourselves up to opportunities to do harm to us. And so, but there are a lot of people who genuinely believe like if we're not there, we're isolationists. And I think it's to me, it's such a crazy way to think. If I were to,
sorry, I thought you were done. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just about to kind of go on another tangent, but that was done.
Oh my God, Charles. Should we be leading by example?
And then there goes Michael. I didn't even get a chance to say anything. Gosh, I interrupted you for nothing, Charles. My apologies. Okay. What's wrong with being isolationist a little bit? Like I think the younger generations rightly point out that, hey, we got a lot of shit going on at home, right? Why are we doing this? Why I don't want, and I mean, am I a younger generation? I think so.
In politics, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what's wrong with that. I mean, wasn't Ron Paul right?
He was.
Right?
He was.
But wasn't George Bush also right that they hate us for our freedom?
I agree that people do hate us for our freedom, and then we give them an opportunity to harm us because of our freedom when we are on their land.
What do you mean? What does that mean? Someone hates us for our freedom. What does that mean? Why would they
dislike the way that? I mean, I think there are cultures that dislike the way that we live and think it is, Sure. I think a number of different things, whether it's the cultural aspect, whether it's the democratic aspect, whether it's the religious aspect, whatever. There are a lot of cultures that dislike us for that. And so, yeah, people do hate us for our freedom. Do I necessarily believe that if we're not over there, they're going to come here? No, I don't think that that's always the case. But I'm
going to push back just a little bit, just because I think that, yeah, there's some, not all cultures are equal and not all cultures are, equally valuable. And yeah, there's going to be some cultures out there that are antagonistic to our culture for sure. But just thinking about like a regular person, we're probably talking about, I don't know, the Middle East, right? A regular person in the Middle East, they don't know or give a shit that we have the freedom to come on YouTube and talk about, whatever the hell we want. Like they don't care. They're trying to feed their family, make it to the next day, or, maybe they're a success. They have more success than that. I don't mean to imply that they're all just poor living in, goat pastures, but I don't think that they really care or think about us. Maybe that's, this American exceptionalism, going to our head, like, oh, everyone must be thinking of us and hating us.
This is similar to the debate over the Osama bin Laden letter, right?
You mean the most important letter of our lifetime?
Yeah, we had that pop up on TikTok. I don't know. My general position on this is like we could achieve a lot more if we led by example. We secured our own borders strongly. We had a strong military at the borders, and we tried to engage in trade and leading by example in the rest of the world. We cause a lot of problems with our bombs that are what the CIA referred to, and Ron Paul rightly pointed out in 2008 and 2012 is blowback. When you blow people up, they're pissed at you. That's a pretty natural human response to that. And I think part of the reason is in the wars, in the post-World War II era, they haven't necessarily been about morality and doing the right thing. They've been about accessing resources, exercising power over people we don't like there. So we've created a lot of resentment towards the United States in our actions. And I think we should recognize that and accept responsibility and say, we're going to try to not do that as much in the world. And people would respond to that a lot better than our bombs.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Fuck yeah. America.
I love that movie.
Well, I mean, since we are talking about the Pauls and Nikki Haley, I think Rand Paul had some interesting things.
Good morning, everyone. As I told you yesterday, I'm ready to say something about the presidential race. I've had a long relationship with Donald Trump, and there's a lot to like there. I'm also a big fan of a lot of the fiscal conservatism of Ron DeSantis. I think Vivek Ramaswamy has been an important voice. Also have listened to and met with the independent Bobby Kennedy. I'm not yet ready to make a decision, but I am ready to make a decision on someone who I cannot support. So I'm announcing this morning that I'm Never Nikki. And if you go to nevernikki.net, you can let her know that you're not a supporter either. I don't think any informed or knowledgeable libertarian or conservative should support Nikki Haley. I've seen her attitude towards our interventions overseas. I've seen her involvement in the military-industrial complex, $8 million being paid to become part of the team. But I've also seen her indicate that she thinks you should be registered to use the internet, that people posting ideas anonymously. I think she fails to understand that our republic was founded upon people like Ben Franklin, Sam Adams, Madison, John Jay, and others who posted routinely. For fear of the government, they posted routinely anonymously. And I think her failure to really understand that, or to think that you should register through the government somehow for the internet, is something that should disqualify her in the minds of all libertarian-leaning conservatives. So I'm announcing today I'm Never Nikki. You can go to nevernikki.net and sign up and show her that you're Never Nikki also. Thanks.
So I'm going to keep this up just for a second. I don't know. First off, I don't really care what Rand Paul just said. I wanted y'all to see that it's Kiss a Ginger Day.
Why is Harris County trending? I have no idea, but okay, go ahead. I'll find that out later.
Why is Harris County trending? Let's find out. I don't know. Harris.
It's all right.
Okay. Well, I feel like his glasses are askew, and that really bothers me. I don't know why these people.
Well, what bothers me is that he didn't just sit in a room and record that. Yeah, what also bothers me is that he bought nevernikki.net, like as opposed to .com.
Yeah. I guess maybe because of alliteration. Perfect, Michael. Keep them.
I've already gone to nevernikki.net and signed up my name. So
I was already Never Nikki. There's a video of me going off on her the other day on Twitter, and
a video of you on Twitter going off on Nikki Haley?
Yeah.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like you were Nikki curious at the beginning.
What? Go to look up a guy named Greg Grugan on Twitter and look at his media. There's a video recently of me
Greg Grugan?
Groogan. No, I do not like Nikki Haley. Like, I thought she was a decent governor in South Carolina, but I do not like Nikki Haley. And in the clip, I explain why. It's one of many reasons, but she's just inauthentic. She is like a consultant-created candidate. Not even consultant. It's like she's like a creation of like a specific donor class, the consultants, and
the reason that Nikki Haley's never going to be president is because she's inauthentic. And this proves it. She goes out there and says this because she knows Southern primaries are coming up, and there's a certain section of Republican primary voters in the South who believe the Civil War was not about slavery. So she goes and says that. But this is the same person who, as governor, was removing Confederate statues because of what they represented. So this is why Nikki Haley's not going to be president. And it's also because she's the brainchild of, Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, and she's going to take us to war.
So she's inauthentic, right? So she's out there saying about this whole thing about how the Civil War, first she didn't want to answer, and she said it's like maybe about slavery, but it's about other things. Then she comes back and she's like, well, slavery. But this is the same person who was removing Confederate statues because you didn't like what they stood for. And then she did the same thing when it came to what did Rand Paul just mention? I forgot what he was just talking about.
Free speech.
Oh, free speech. She was like, oh, I didn't really mean that they should register. And so I'm not a big DeSantis fan. I'm not like a DeSantis fan at all, but I'm not a big DeSantis fan either. But one thing that he made a point to bring up was that she always does this, is that she says something. And then when you say she says it, she's like, I didn't say that, or I didn't mean that, or you took my word. But it's like, no, you did say that. You just don't remember that you said that. And Chris Christie used to always say when he was governor back in the day, he was like, I always tell the truth because my mom said, if you tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said. And Nikki Haley does not do that.
I mean, does Chris Christie do that, you think?
I think he does. I think he's authentic to who he is. I don't necessarily like everything he does, but I think he's being who he is. With a waistline like that, I think it's just it is what it is.
He's got to stop. He's got to stop with the weight puns.
Ooh, Chris Christie?
Chris Christie.
Does he do a lot of weight puns, like against himself?
He said punching above his weight, and he said something else the other day. I'm like, dude, did you take a look in a mirror?
Well, Charles, so you're Nikki curious, and that's
no,
fine.
I'm not at all.
Okay.
I'm also never Nikki. However, I'm not going to like publicly declare that like Rand Paul did, because if she's the nominee against Joe Biden, I might undervote. I might vote for her. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to go out there and be like, I'm a never Nikki person, but I don't like her at all.
Yeah, you're not never Nikki because you're Nikki curious. What is what was that on?
What was what on?
That clip that I just played.
Of me?
Yes.
Oh, that was on Fox 26's What's Your Point? It's a Sunday morning talk show that we do every week.
Hell yeah. Wait, you do it every single week?
Well, 3 weeks out of the month. I'm usually off one week, maybe 2 weeks occasionally.
Hell yeah, dude. I didn't know you did that. That's great.
It's fun. You should come on sometime. I mean, it's in Houston, so you might.
I will drive to Houston to do that.
So will I. I wasn't invited.
Well, we just got done talking about how we would do all these +2s and everything, and you just dropped this bomb, and I'm not invited.
Well, I'm not the moderator, but if I will recommend, especially when he does this at Austin.
I will drive to Houston, and I will do that. Absolutely, I will. Ooh, boy!
I think you guys have an Austin version of it, though. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on your local Fox.
Well, I have to start in the small market of Houston before I get into the big market of Austin. So.
I would stick the finger, but I do not like cursing in public.
So Nikki is the quote unquote right representative of the Uniparty.
Yeah,
that's what she is. She's like the right version where they can argue about social issues, but on all the big stuff, economics, foreign policy, she's the Mitt Romney. Yeah.
Without the pizzazz.
Well, Michael, I wanted to ask you a question about something that Charles just said, because you deal with this kind of stuff, I think, on a regular basis, and maybe Charles does too. And I think maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Do politicians regularly, they just say stuff and then they forget that they said it? Like they're just talking in the moment, they're just saying whatever is right, and then they don't remember that they said it?
All the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought these people were smarter than that.
Well, they have to say so much stuff.
Sure.
And so when you're in a crowd in Iowa and there's 10 people there and you think no one's recording, they're gonna say what they think that crowd wants to hear.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, there's a camera because it's 2024. And then, now you're saying something different. So yeah, I think a lot of them do that. Not all of them. I think some of them are like, I feel like Trump more often than not just says, like Trump and Christie are very alike in that sense, where in most scenarios, I believe they will say the same thing with the different crowds. Like, sure, there are going to be instances in which they don't, but I think more often than not, you'll get the same thing. DeSantis and Haley, I don't get that same vibe from.
So who's going to win Iowa? Let's go back to Iowa. Who's going to win?
Real quick, just a fire round around the table. If Nikki Haley is the Republican nominee, as Brad Swail has predicted, who are you voting for?
Who's the Democratic nominee?
Very
Robert
important.
F. Kennedy?
Joe Biden, but Kennedy's, Michelle Obama, but Kennedy is the independent candidate, and Michael Rechtenwald is the libertarian, and Cornel West is the third party, and Jill Stein is the Green Party.
I would go libertarian, I guess.
Yeah, Michael Rechtenwald or whatever his name is, Rechtenwald. I've voted for, what was that guy's name who ran third party all the time?
Ross Perot.
No. In the recent ones, I can't think of it. But
I've libertarian.
Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson. Yeah, was it Gary Johnson? Yeah, I think I voted Gary Johnson both. I don't know, but I would not vote probably not for Nikki Haley in that scenario. Probably Brian Rechtenwald. Wait, what was his name?
Michael Rechtenwald.
Rechtenwald.
Wreck the swamp. Hashtag.
Boy, that's awful.
He's also like a professor, so he's very geeky. I would vote RFK Jr. though, under that scenario.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I'd still talk to you, I guess, if you did that.
I would not vote for someone who went out there and said, who genuinely, I don't know if she believes this, and this is just, I'm just hinging on this one issue because it bothers me. Because this is an issue also within the Republican Party, where she goes out there and says that it's not about slavery and then says it is. Like, you need to stick to your gun with whatever you believe. Whether you believe it isn't, stick to it. I'll have more respect for you for saying that. If you do believe it is, stick to it. I have more respect for you saying that. To flip-flop is the problem. And that is a problem in the party, because then you say one thing to the base and the base takes that and they glom on it and they run with it. And there's a lot of people in the base currently who don't think the Civil War was about slavery. So feeding into that, I think, is even particularly lower than others. But.
Charles, let me ask you, because I mean, for people that are just listening, they may not know this. You're a black man.
Yes.
And when Nikki Haley says that the Civil War was not about slavery, is that personally offensive to you?
Personally offensive? No, I don't get offended by many things. So like, it's not really offensive, but I think it's offensive to our collective intelligence. Like, that's where I find it offensive. Like, you might genuinely believe that, and I think there are a lot of people who do genuinely believe that, but I believe she's also smarter than that, and she has done the work. And for you to go out again and pursue a removal of Confederate statues in your state because of what they stand for, to then say this now 6-7 years later, that's what I find offensive. It's just that it's ignorance and you're playing into ignorance. But no, I don't find it like personal. Like, I don't wake up upset about it. I just think that, like, if you're going to do that, you're probably unfit to be a leader of the Republican Party or a leader in general.
All right. Fair enough.
So is she going to win Iowa?
I don't think so. I think Trump's got Iowa.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Trump, right? He's still on the ballot, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think the last poll I saw had her like 5 points behind him or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Do we believe
that must have been New Hampshire. We got nationwide, according to Real Clear Politics, we've got Trump at 61%.
In Iowa?
Nationwide.
Oh.
Haley at 11
Oof.
and DeSantis at 10.9. So he's got a 50-point lead. In Iowa, according to RCP average.
Why are you just going straight over my boy Vivek?
Because he's a non-starter.
He's not on there.
He wasn't even invited to the recent debate.
Yeah, who gives a shit? That's all rigged.
All right. Calm it down. We'll get your boy. Well, he's not even on here.
See, because he's not even polling.
Oh, here we go.
It's crazy.
He is. They're not putting him on the poll.
That must be it. He's got all the money. He should pay for them to put him on the poll.
I mean, that guy. It's insane that he's not 4.1. Okay,
Nationwide 4.1
seems low, but it's fine.
So then we go to Iowa, and right now we've got Trump at 53, Haley at 17.8, and DeSantis at 15.5. So Trump has a 35% lead in Iowa, according to the polls right now. He's gonna run away with that thing.
Yeah.
But the question is then, does DeSantis drop out after Iowa? The Vivek theory. Does DeSantis drop out after Iowa? And a lot of those voters go to Nikki Haley via an endorsement, or just that's where they go.
Do you think Ron DeSantis would endorse Nikki Haley?
Maybe.
That sounds like I would think that the DeSantis base is like, I think their second choice is Trump.
That's what I'm thinking. I think Vivek's second choice, Vivek's base is second choice, DeSantis's base is second choice, both Trump. I think Christie's base's second choice is probably Nikki Haley. Yeah. But I feel like both of those, like DeSantis may be like a 60-40, 70-30 split, Trump, Haley, but I feel like overwhelmingly his base would go Trump. I feel
interesting.
I feel like the only reason they went with DeSantis is because he's like a less problematic. At the start, he came across as a less problematic Trump, a less baggage Trump. But like,
Yeah, that's interesting.
I could be wildly wrong. I have no
I
idea.
disagree, but I just there's a lot of, in my experience, there's a lot of the never Trumpers. I don't want, not the vocal never Trumpers, but like the Ben Shapiros of the world.
Yeah.
That are supporting DeSantis, and given the option between Haley and Trump for Shapiro, my guess is he would choose Haley. He wouldn't be loud about it, but he'd go into the voting booth and check Haley over Trump. But I could be wrong.
Wait, is Shapiro never a Trumper?
He started out that way in 2016, and sort of came around to the money that he's getting paid from his advertisers and his show. Like, if I go against Trump, then I'm not going to get paid. I'm not going to get very much money.
Right.
So I think he switched his opinion based on that. But he's, I think he has a lot of disdain for him. I mean, he did move the Israeli, what is it, to Jerusalem? What's it called? The
embassy?
Yeah, move the embassy to Jerusalem. You would think that Shapiro would be all about that.
I think he probably was. A lot of people were, but I mean, I don't know. I don't follow Ben Shapiro, so I just don't know where he is on things. So
don't start following him.
Yeah, well, DeSantis will have, he's going to get pressure. I mean, could he theoretically drop out and not endorse somebody? So he's going to have to choose probably one or the other, right?
I don't think he can endorse Trump.
Interesting. Well, why not?
I think just because of the way. So with Christie dropping out, the only way for DeSantis and Haley to gain an edge, which we saw in the debate, is that they've got to start taking that lane of attacking Trump. Somebody's got to do it. And so they both started. Haley was a little more forward about it. DeSantis was kind of tinkering around the edges, saying he has baggage. He's not going to beat all these charges, blah, 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 blah. So for you to say that this man's not going to beat all the charges and it's going to be setting it up for Biden to win, and then to go endorse him, I just feel like, but I also don't see him endorsing Haley, so I feel like he's just got to sit this one out, because you're going to endorse Haley after you called her a liar up and down the highway for 3 months. So like, but I mean, politicians do things like this all the time, so who knows? But I'm just saying that I don't know what's going to happen.
We have a Biden-Harris presidency, and Harris was calling Biden a racist.
That's a good point.
I don't. Either way is not far-fetched to me. I mean, if I'm DeSantis and I'm like, who should I endorse? I drop out. We're assuming a lot here, and I drop out. I would endorse Trump. Trump would be quick to forgive. He would talk him up. Like, maybe he gets a spot in the, maybe he starts to repair his reputation amongst the MAGA crowd, and like Trump would forgive him, I think. But if he endorses Haley, oh boy. But it gives her a chance. She's only down, according to the polls, in New Hampshire by 14 right now. So with Christie out and endorsing her, that's 11%. And then DeSantis out, that's a cumulative almost 18 points that has to go somewhere. So she could theoretically pull off a win there in New Hampshire. I don't think it's going to happen, but there's a path.
Is Vivek, is he running to be Trump's VP? As many people speculate?
I don't think so. I think he's probably running for a cabinet position or something.
Okay.
I think, I saw something yesterday. It was pure Twitter speculation, but that Trump was looking at Ben Carson. I wish I could remember what I saw. It was Ben Carson and then two others, but I can't remember what they were. So now
Kristi Noem?
Maybe it was Kristi Noem. I don't know.
My money's on. Somebody asked me on Twitter the other day, an urbanist friend of mine, and I said Noem or Tucker.
You said what?
Noem or Tucker.
Tucker would say no. He just started a media empire. Not gonna happen.
Empire.
And I mean, let's get back to the more important question. Why are you talking to urbanists?
I knew he wasn't gonna let that one slide.
He asked me a question. I like him.
Jack?
Trump said, no, it was Dan Keshet.
I like Dan.
Yeah. Trump said in his town hall with CNN that he's decided on who his VP is.
Oh, it's Ben Carson. It's got to be.
Why do you say that?
Because Ben Carson, the only people who have not criticized Trump have been Ben Carson and like Carrie Lake. I mean, and Tucker, but like generally speaking, like everybody else has said something about him at one point or another. And I don't know him, but from everything I've seen, he's not one who's quick to forgive, it seems like. And so Ben Carson was the only one, or one of the few, he might not be the only one, who stuck through the entire administration. He never was like at odds with Trump ever. And people seem to still like him, even like I don't know what he's doing. Like, he doesn't say much, but people like him. I mean, I don't dislike him, so please don't take this as criticism of him. So yeah, I mean, I think it would be a safe, easy pick for him. And then you're also, you know, you're combating Biden. You have a black VP, so it is first black male VP, first fully black VP.
Ooh.
Carson
First fully black person in the White House, like at an executive level.
Yeah.
Look at that.
See,
Carson is in Iowa as we speak with Carrie Lake, campaigning for Trump.
they're fighting for VP spots. That's what they're doing.
Carrie Lake turns me off. I don't know.
Really?
A little bit.
I like
I don't know
Carrie
why.
Lake.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's what you get for being like Michael Searle. So do y'all want to? Should we move on to the aliens before Michael just like gets angry at us for not talking about it?
Aliens.
Sure. Which aliens are we talking about?
Well, let's look at it.
The Brazilian ones.
They're hairless. So we got the Brazil aliens, super tall beings caught on video roaming around hillside. What if I do this? Look at that. Look at those super tall aliens. Do those look like aliens to you, Michael?
No.
They don't look like aliens?
Look at the arms.
I mean,
But
it looks
also,
like
why not just walk up the hillside?
What do you mean? The person filming?
Yeah.
That I think it looks like it's pretty far away, like it's zoomed in, but that could be treacherous. You don't know. There might be a little valley down there, right? And look at them. They're posing.
Okay, why is the alien's head on his hip like that?
They're posing. What else do they do? Anything else? I found a video, a version of this video that's that has audio, but it's just some guy talking in Portuguese.
So what do they? I mean, is there speculation as to what it is other than aliens? Like, does anybody have another solution?
More mysterious video of what appears to be super tall human-like beings walking among us, and this time, folks are claiming there are 10-foot tall aliens in heavy air quotes down in Brazil. Yeah, I think the Miami malls may be more.
Oh, well, there's a new one. It says Italian basketball player.
Basketball? Charles.
It's a great movie.
It is.
Italian basketball player Felipe Mata claims to be the tall alien in viral Brazil video. It was just me on a hike, he says. So I don't know.
Michael, how much did they pay him to say that?
I don't know, man. That could be feasibly. That could be somebody in some sort of alien suit. I don't know. It's not compelling to me. That what is compelling to me is the similarities in a lot of the recent sightings. We had the Las Vegas one that people said was a hoax.
You've brought this up in our text messages before. I think both of you have, and I have no idea. This just blew right by me. What happened in Las Vegas?
I didn't bring that up because I don't know either.
Oh, a family in Las Vegas claims that a UFO landed in their backyard.
Okay.
And they have video. They ran out with their cell phones.
All right, keep talking.
It's very dark.
Let's see if I can get this video.
It's the middle of the night, and they claim that they saw 10-foot tall gray aliens in the back of their car. They called the cops.
Aren't grays supposed to be small? Grays small.
Wait, what's small alien?
They call the cops. The cops show up, and there's this separate video from a cop's body cam. And a freaking UFO goes flying across the sky, and he looks up, and they catch it. And they're like, "What is that?" And then there's a loud bang. So the theory is, and what these people say is, the craft landed in their backyard. They got it on video. They called the police, and then it took off.
Oh, so the video in the body cam is the alien taking off?
Yeah, possibly. So there's that. Then we have the Miami Mall. Well, before the Miami Mall, we have the villages in Peru who've said that aliens have been visiting them for some time now. And they say the same thing, 10-foot tall gray aliens. Then we have Miami Mall, 10-foot tall gray aliens. And now we have Brazil, 10-foot tall gray aliens.
I guess my two questions are, why are aliens suddenly taller? And two, how are people estimating at 10 feet? Like, I can't, if I saw something 10 feet, I can't just be like, that's 10 feet. Like, like that's, I don't know.
Maybe it's a round number that's easy to say. Like when I first saw Michael, I was like, God, that guy's 10 feet tall.
All right, let's see this.
Just before midnight on April 30th, skywatchers across several western states saw a bright fireball streak through the heavens. A police officer working in the Northwest Valley caught a glimpse of the colorful object on his body cam. At nearly the same time, a Ring camera in the area recorded a strange noise and what sounds like a crash. One family living in a ranch-style home had a much closer view of the object. Two brothers and their father were working on a vehicle in their yard when they caught a glimpse of a sparkly object as it came crashing down, then were hit by what they describe as a shockwave. One of the witnesses, a young man named Angel, has stated when the brothers
You can't believe anybody named Angel. Stop it.
looked into the yard where the object landed, that spot was obscured and blurry, as if by unknown form of camouflage. What they saw next prompted a frantic call to 911.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot.
8 foot, not
10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes.
Okay.
Like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
8 News Now investigators have spoken with family members multiple times in the past 4 weeks, but each of the 3 times we accepted their invitation to do an interview, they didn't answer the door or their phone. These
sounds fake.
Okay. Why not answer the door or the phone? Why are scientists not there, like picking up blades of grass to test them?
What makes you think that Will Smith wasn't there picking up blades of grass to test them?
But what I will say, what I find really interesting about his commentary is that when he talks about the blurry vision of the backyards, as if this is some sort of force field, this sounds very similar to what Tucker's saying about how they're operating in and around us. We don't have the capacity to see them or whatever it is. So
I said that when we talked about it, maybe the first time we talked about aliens, you brought up the question, how come there's not just a bunch of video all the time? Because we all have cell phones. And I think I said something along the lines of, surely they have technology that would stop us from doing that if they didn't want to be found.
Yeah.
I didn't believe you until Tucker said it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I mean, there's lots of these sightings, and they all have similar stories. And I was listening to Gary Nolan the other day, and he runs like I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the research institute that collects all the sightings and talks to all the people who had sightings. He estimates that across the globe, there are 50,000 a year sightings, credible sightings.
Credible?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do some people see them and others don't? I guess that's my question, right? Like if they're operating in and around us, is it like a certain level of like...
Let me ask you, can I ask you a real question? Like the question that you want to ask is, how come you haven't seen them?
Well, yes.
That's fair.
Is it like...
I ask the same question all the time.
Do I need to read more philosophy? Do I have to open my third eye? Like truly, what is it that because about ghosts, what they say is that when you're a kid, some people see them and then you kind of lose this innocence as you get older and you can't see them. So I'm curious, like what makes some people able to see them and others not, and how I become one of those people who can.
Let's ask our resident alien, Michael Searle.
I don't know. I don't see him either, man. I would say try DMT. You're going to be in Guatemala here soon.
Some ayahuasca.
Some ayahuasca ceremonies. Just open up your
third eye.
But that's, the similar test. There were similar accounts there in Miami, whatever the heck that was, that they were blurry. That's what the people were saying.
I mean, just in case people don't know, the Miami situation was there's like 10-foot tall shadowy figures at a mall. And caused quite the ruckus. A huge police presence responded. The official narrative, I think, is that some young kids were fighting with sticks.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. There was a lot of police for just kids fighting with sticks.
I mean, it literally looked like half of the Miami Police Department.
No, it was according to the police's own statement, it was every police car in the city. They shut down air travel. They had helicopters flying over the mall, all because a couple kids were fighting
that makes
with
no
sticks.
sense. Yeah, that makes like, why would you have such a? That's absurd.
That's kids fighting with sticks for you.
That's a lot of people, a lot of response for some kids fighting with sticks. And why? But why aliens? Like, you can go anywhere. You go to the mall to get Auntie Anne's pretzels. I mean, I guess they just go places. Like,
maybe they look. You shit on the mall all you want,
I mean,
but maybe they want a blacklight poster from Spencer's.
Get a spike chain.
Oh yeah! Did you wear a chain wallet when you were younger?
Very briefly.
Jinkos? You had Jinkos?
I also had a mohawk for a period of time too.
What? What?
Yeah.
Pull up a picture right now and share the screen.
This was like in ninth grade. I don't have a picture of it handy.
I have pictures of me when I was in ninth grade.
That you could pull up in 2.5 seconds?
I don't know. It might take me less than that, but yeah, I could pull a picture in ninth grade.
I had a lot of crazy hairstyles over the years.
I did a faux hawk for a little while.
What's a faux hawk?
Oh, give me a break.
No, I mean, is like
David Beckham?
I mean, I know who that is.
It's like a mohawk, but you're not shaved on the side.
Oh, you just kind of like gel it to the middle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Back when I lived in Japan, that's what I did.
Fitting
indeed. If I can find the picture of me in ninth grade, I'll show y'all. But anyhow, so yeah, and we were arguing over text message. I'm not going to share the screen on text messages because that's private conversation. That, all right, if these are aliens, you would think that I did some, simple assumptions, right? Probably 5 to 10% of the people would run away if they saw 10-foot shadowy aliens. And I think that 5 to 10% of those people, everyone would run away. 5 to 10% of those people would probably stop at some point when they feel like they're safe, pull their phone out of their pocket and film it.
Yeah.
But if they're obscuring your sight, they're probably obscuring your phone recordings too.
There are some recordings. I have looked at them and they're not convincing. But the people that are filming believe there's something there. I can't see it.
The one recording I saw was somebody at on some high up building, and they're recording down like what we just saw, and you see, and it might have been that video where there's like a blob of thing moving across, and they're like, "That's it." I just couldn't. That's the only thing I saw.
There's no video evidence that I'm like, "Oh gosh, that's an alien." What sparks my interest on that one is the response. It doesn't make sense to me, and
not
the
for
people,
some kids, no.
And the people running out of the mall, like frantic running out. I guess you could create chaos, and then people don't know what they're running from, but. That seems like a pretty crazy reaction to a couple of kids fighting with sticks and fireworks.
Yeah, I'll just show you on my phone. No. No, damn it, it's not. Well,
that's what you get for having that fake background.
Dang, with a full head of hair.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at this guy. That's definitely. What was that, like the 80s? That's definitely like a late 80s, early 90s prom pic.
Look at that guy. No, that was the freshman soiree.
Oh, freshman soiree.
Ninth grade. Pulled it up. Your turn. Let's see that mohawk.
I couldn't find it if I wanted to. I'd have to ask my mom for pictures.
Oh my God. If we don't have pictures when you get back from Guatemala of you with a mohawk, I don't know that I'll ever do the show again.
I'll be there for a couple hours. So.
What?
No, never mind.
No.
All right. So next topic.
Uber protests in Austin. Now, you again, I'm not going to share text messages because that's private conversation. Right? I would never do y'all like that. But Charles, you said that you heard about these Uber protests in Austin. I said, "Oh wow, that's interesting. How'd you hear about that, Charles? How indeed did you hear?"
Is this Michael in high school?
Whoa!
Look at this guy, Abercrombie and Fitch model over here.
Talk about a glove up
jacket.
Oh, look at that. Oh man, now Charles, you really have to do it.
I don't have one. Let's see what I can find fast. Go ahead.
Well, so all right, so you texted, about this, as a potential topic, like, hey, why don't we do this? Talk about these Uber protests. And I said, well, how'd you know about that? And so I'm gonna just pull this up real quick. Here it is. I did a podcast on my other podcast with a guy named Street on X. He's known as Streets Don't Play. Streets Are Watching. He's an Uber driver here in Austin. And I thought, man, how does Charles know about this? Right. And I want to just look. Can I look at who?
No.
Why
who
not?
Sees it?
Huh?
You can't. Who views it?
No. Who liked and retweeted? Here, I can just look right here.
Oh, you're saying. All right.
God. Oh God, none of them. Oh geez, Charles,
Huh?
you didn't like or retweet it, but you
Yes,
saw.
I did. What do you mean?
I see no liking or retweeting from Charles Blain. But anyhow, so you saw it and you thought, hey, this is really interesting. I'm gonna text him about it. That's cool. I appreciate that. But maybe we support each other.
So okay, here's the thing.
In our growth online, in our followings.
Here's the problem. When I see things on Instagram and Twitter, I usually I see it and then I don't like it for whatever reason. I just like, oh, this is interesting. See ya. Sorry, I just retweeted and liked it.
Oh, look at you! Thank you. So there's on February 5th, there's going to be an Uber protest in Austin. We are all over the map here, going from Iowa to aliens to an Uber protest in Austin. There's going to be an Uber protest in Austin on February 5th. There are going to be Uber drivers driving in from all over the state to protest Uber's, how do you put it? I guess their continued effort to fuck over drivers, right? Mm-hmm. They just make it more and more difficult for people to make money at this job. And so that's what's happening.
Why are they protesting in Austin of all places?
Well, there's been other protests. I think there's one in Minnesota and one in Seattle that I think had some, to hear Streets Are Watching put it, had some success. And I think they're doing it in Austin probably because Austin, maybe it has I think it's just, Texas is a big state and Austin is pretty politically active. I don't know why Austin specifically. I guess they could have done it in Houston.
Well, I'm saying, are they asking like the state to have a minimum wage for these people? Like, what are
their? So yeah, I asked them about that. I think their goal, I think they would be fine if the legislature got involved or the city of Austin got involved. But they're just trying to get Uber's attention right now. Like Uber, this is a problem. We're not making enough money because of the new rules that you've implemented, making it harder to like. There's different levels of Uber driver, and like only the highest levels get good access and like good help from Uber. And then they, the way that they try to like connect you with riders has been totally fucked, and it makes it really hard to make money. And so if Uber doesn't listen, then yeah, they're fine. Like they will try to go the legislative route.
So I was taking an Uber recently, and the lady, she had her phone set up on the thing, and she got an Uber ride or an Uber request when we were near my destination, and it was for $4. And she was like, "I'm not picking this person up." I was like, "This is ridiculous. The fact that this is $4, like what? How this may, no matter how far or not far they're going, $4 is not worth the time." I was like, that makes sense. And I do know that I've heard other Uber drivers talk about how they need to do these like competitions where they've got to hit a certain number of rides. And then when they hit those certain rides, then like they get an increase or they get preferred and all this. And it's like, it's the market working because it is a popular product. My issue is Uber and Airbnb. I feel like the same thing's happening where from the user end of it, these were novel like products initially, and they were great alternatives to the traditional services. And now I get an Uber and it smells like it's not great, and it's the driver is not great, and the description on the Uber app's a lie. Or I go to an Airbnb and it's almost worse than staying at a hotel. And so I don't know. I think the product has gone down a bit.
Or you get into an Uber and like the driver wants to talk to you. Ugh.
Well, I don't mind that much. I usually just click
all the time, but
I click Quiet Ride or whatever it's called.
Yeah, my Uber rating is like a 4.9 something, and Streets Are Watching so that's pretty good.
Should we all check our Uber ratings and compare? Because I think I'm.
Ooh.
I mean, I was blown. He was like, if you're like a 4.6, then he won't pick you up. I think is what he said.
Oh,
Something,
wow.
something along those lines. Or like no one will pick you up.
Isn't that's not good?
That's what I said. I don't
While
get
we're,
it.
while we're looking at our Uber ratings, I don't understand the purpose of the protest. The Uber's not going to care that there's a bunch of drivers protesting in Austin. This is a global
4.9.
company.
I'm 4.96.
Oh my God, you're such a bitch.
4.92.
Oh my God.
Looks like I'm the best Uber rider here.
I've probably had some, after some late nights in Austin, Texas in my younger years, I could imagine not being a perfect score.
I don't get that. Why would they? All right. I mean, because you were an asshole or because you were drunk?
Because I was drunk, probably.
What the? I mean, you're picking someone up from downtown at 2 a.m. Like, all right, they're going to be drunk. Why would you fault them for that? That's your fault.
That is true. Go in at 9 a.m. if that's the case.
But yeah, he said that if you were like a 4.6, then people won't be like, or lower, then people probably won't pick you up. I'm like, 4.6 is
crazy.
That's a really high score. I thought it's out of 5. It's not not bad.
If I'm looking for hotels and it's a 4.6, I'm like, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'm like, can I afford this place?
Right, exactly.
But since you brought up Airbnb, I got to say, why on earth is anybody staying in Airbnbs? Hotels are so much better
now, not initially. Some, and not even all Airbnbs. There's it depends on flexibility, where you want to stay, the amenities you want. I still find some good Airbnbs depending on where I'm going. But at the start, I loved Airbnb because it was cheaper than hotel. Like now I go to an Airbnb, it's like you got to clean the place when you're done. And I'm like
well, you're staying in someone else's house, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. I want a concierge. I want a front desk. I want someone to say hi when I walk in the door. What was that face, Michael?
Oh, I always go to B&B first.
Same.
And if I can't find something, then I go hotel.
Same.
I like having a house, a kitchen, and
it's just more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you have to go grocery shopping. Like you're on vacation. You're somewhere else.
Well, either way, you're gonna have to go buy food, whether you're staying at a hotel or Airbnb.
I want someone to cook for me when I'm not at home. I don't want to cook myself. Come on.
If I'm going for an extended period of time, definitely Airbnb, just because it's definitely. If I'm going short term, I'm still looking for Airbnb, but I don't have a problem going.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do in Guatemala?
Airbnb.
A yurt? Because you're gonna be doing a ayahuasca trip.
I'm doing Airbnb.
That's pretty cool, I guess. So is that topic settled?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Do we want to talk about workout routines?
I think we can.
Charles wakes up every day at 5 o'clock and immediately goes to the gym.
Fair. 4:45, but yeah.
Fuck you. What time you
just wake up, get out of bed, and go to straight get in your car and go to the gym?
Yes. Well, I'll either go to
Which
the gym.
gym do you go to?
I go to 24-hour, but I'm switching to I've gone to 24-hour past couple years. I started going to my apartment gym because I was doing free weights because I wanted to do some more symmetric work so I can kind of even things out. Now I'm going to try to switch to kind of like a bodybuilding gym because I hate 24-hour. I should not say that. Well, I mean, I guess we're not going to get a sponsorship from 24-hour fitness, but 24-hour fitness, it's like always packed. The squat racks are always full. People don't put stuff back. It's just annoying. And so I want to go to a gym where people
at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Well, they only have 6 squat racks in mine.
Still, I would think 5 o'clock in the morning would be at least 6 of those would be open.
I want to start going to a bodybuilding gym, a place where people respect the art of working out.
The art of working out. Well, I think bodybuilding certainly is an art. And I think exercise, when done properly, is certainly an art. Michael, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do a podcast just dedicated to health and fitness, because I think all of us are pretty conscious of those things, diet. But my routine, real quick, I wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. and I take a cold plunge is the first thing I do. I'm up to a minute and a half, and the cold plunge is outside. So you can imagine how cold it is. Up to a minute and a half. I'll do 2 minutes next week. And then I do breathing exercises, Wim Hof style, real deep ins and exhales. And then I ground, meaning I go outside barefoot and touch the earth.
I've heard about this.
Yeah. And then I make sure to drink 40 ounces of water. And and then I go to the gym. Well, we get the kids to the bus around
like an 8-hour routine before getting to the gym.
we got to get the kids to the bus by 6:45, and then we come home, and then I have a gym in my garage. And then me and my wife work out, currently doing pretty basic stuff, but like a pull day on Mondays, legs Tuesdays, that kind of stuff. And that's my routine. I do it every day.
6:45 bus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
How do you the cold plunge? The thing with cold plunges and cold showers, I like that stuff, and at that time of morning makes me angry. Like if I get in the shower and it's cold, like I don't know how people do that. It makes me so angry. Like
it doesn't make me angry, but
cold.
it wakes me up real good. Oh yeah. But I started with 15 seconds in a cold shower and then just built an added time every week. And it's not fun, but I feel great. I know there's a noticeable difference in my energy levels during the day and I don't want to say longevity, but my stamina throughout the day. Like I feel less tired since I started doing that at the end of the day.
Well, that's good. I've heard those things about cold plunges. I've always been interested in trying. I just hate cold stuff. And so, a hot shower in the morning, I feel great. A cold shower in the morning angers me. But I've heard really good things about cold plunging. Brad, what's yours? What do you got going on?
I'm trying not to.
Don't even leave it. Leave it.
Michael's choice of words. Stamina.
Yeah, usually people pay me for this sort of information, but I guess I'll share it. Whatever. What's my routine? Well, I mean, I wake up just sort of when I wake up. I always set my alarm for 5:30, but sometimes I wake up at 4. Sometimes I wake up at 5. Rarely do I ever hear my alarm. And I don't work out first thing in the morning. I sit in a quiet house and maybe listen to the radio, or I don't really do anything. I try to do as little as possible and just enjoy the peace and quiet. 3 kids are asleep. Everyone's asleep. The dogs are quiet. They're not like roaming around. They're napping like dogs always do. How do they do it? I don't know. I wish I could do that. Just nap all day. And then I work out when I feel like working out. I lift weights a couple days a week. I play soccer a couple days a week. And then on the 5th day, I might do something like a Peloton easy ride. That's sort of my rest day. I also consider lifting weights as sort of it's intense, but it's lower intensity than on my system than the soccer, because soccer is just constant sprinting. But I never split. Like today's leg day. I always do full body. A lot of kettlebells, a lot of functional training, functional movement. If I just focused, I have a garage gym as well. A lot of kettlebells. I have a squat rack.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I want to instill this in my son. I think that everyone should experience what it's like to have for lack of a better word, to have a perfect body. Now, have I ever had a perfect body? No, but as close to perfect as I'll ever get, yes. Right? And I think people should experience that, because there's a certain aesthetic to it. There's a certain sense of pride. Like, I built this and no one else did. I did this. And to experience that and how good you feel and how well you move, I think if you don't get that at least once in your life, I think you're missing out.
Well, I mean, it's a great representation of like self-control and determination. Like you can buy a lot of things, but you can also buy a perfect body. But generally speaking, like it shows that you have a lot of discipline and that you have a lot of self-control and that that you have dedication to something without having to say any words or anything like that. So I think it's really helpful.
There's a certain beauty to it. Right. I think people, when they watch the Olympics and they see like the sprinters or the swimmers or the gymnasts, whatever, I guess you could see some of that in the Winter Olympics, but who gives a shit? It's cool that Usain Bolt runs, as fast as he runs, but it also just looks beautiful the way that the human body can move and the things that the human body can do. And I'm never going to run as fast as Usain Bolt. Try as I might. something about him that I don't have, but it's a beautiful thing to see. Like that's your potential, right? You gotta work hard to reach that potential, and the amount of effort that he put into that is, I think it speaks to the beauty of the human body and the human determination.
Yeah.
I like the kettlebells. I haven't started I've done kettlebells before. I change my routine like every 6 weeks or so. And so right now I'm on just kind of body part split, but I do want to do some kettlebell stuff, more like actually dedicate myself to some kettlebell stuff. I really like kettlebells. They're really like usable in many different ways. And I feel like they're just slept on, or I've slept on them.
Yeah.
Kettlebell. You should try some steel maces. Those are fun too.
Steel maces? I don't even know what that is.
They're great.
Yeah, I've been flirting with the idea of full body every day.
Do it.
I mean, I'm not like, I don't know what you mean by getting to like the perfect body. That's not my goal. I'm probably right now in the best shape I've been in since I played basketball in college.
I don't know if everybody knows this, but Michael played for Gonzaga.
No, I wasn't good enough to play for Gonzaga.
He was at Duke, excuse you.
No, I wasn't good enough to play for Duke.
He was at Kansas, I think.
I think so too. He looks like he's from Kansas.
Santa Barbara.
Hey, better basketball player than I am.
Me too.
But my goal is to be the best shape I've ever been in my life by 40. And part of that is trimming out. I struggle like a lot of men our age at the waistline because I put on a bunch of beer weight in my 20s, that needs to come off. And it's hard to grow lean muscle and lose that at the same time. So I'm, when we talk about diet, which we'll do at some point, I am at a calorie deficit, but I have 220 grams of protein every day, which I think is the, logical way to try to trim some of that beer fat around the belly and keep your lean muscle intact.
When I say perfect body, I don't mean,
Schwarzenegger.
I mean, in his prime, he did look pretty amazing. But, people will point to like Brad Pitt in Fight Club or whatever the case may be, like the ripped dudes that girls in high school loved when we were in high school that like we looked at them like, how the fuck do I get that body? Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. I don't mean you got to look like that. I mean, like perfect, like you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, gosh damn, I look good. It's not, maybe there's a little bit of pudge here or there, or, some asymmetries or, you're whatever. It's like, this is great. And I look good. And that, look at me. I did something, right? There's that aesthetic, achieving that level of pride, I think is important for people.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I have discipline. I'm pretty disciplined, but to put on a ton of muscle, the amount of food I'd have to eat, just being 6'6" and the amount of calories I burn in a day. I don't want to be big guy. I want to be cut up. I don't want to be huge, muscly,
Well, I'm sure. I feel like because you're tall, like that, I feel like your frame is like naturally inclined for that more than to be like a juice head too. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like that's the case. But that whole body recomposition thing is just, it's hard trying to, build muscle and lose fat at the same time and not pare down any muscle. For you guys, maybe not. I can't eat that much protein. I try. It's just, I started eating eggs in the morning, so I'll do like 3 or 4, but I get full really easily.
Triple it.
I can't eat. I can barely eat.
What are you eating? What are you eating with your eggs?
Nothing. And I'm full. I'm still full by lunch.
That's great.
Half a pound of ground turkey with my 5 eggs.
I'll have cottage cheese sometimes with my eggs. I love cottage cheese and some jam.
Y'all go carnivore for 30 days and you watch how easy it is to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time.
I'm mostly there. Okay.
Can I ask, when you say carnivore, do you mean 100% carnivore, or are we talking about like 90-10?
I don't hide this fact at all. Whenever I talk about it, I'm probably 99-1.
Really?
On most days. Some days it might be 95-5. I don't know. But when I first started, it was 100%.
Does cottage cheese count as carnivore? I would assume.
I think it does. Okay. And there's going to be assholes out there that say if you eat cottage cheese or use butter or something like that, that's not carnivore. That's not meat. Well, fuck you.
It comes from an animal.
That's what I say. If it comes from an animal, you can eat it. So you could even drink milk if you wanted to. Anyhow,
We might have to do a challenge here where it's like Charles and I will do 30-day carnivore diet if you do 30-day cold plunge.
I mean, are you going to buy me a cold plunge?
Just get ice delivered to your house every day.
Yeah.
How do I do? Tell me how I do a cold plunge without a cold plunge.
Get ice at your house.
You can get ice at my
bathtub?
house. I have a yes, I have.
Do
You have a toilet? Yeah. What do you mean?
Some people only have stand-up
Fill it
showers
up.
nowadays.
Fill it up and put ice in it.
Oh my god.
I might buy you a cold plunge. Well, let's talk about this offline. Real quick, my best friend from high school, same exact build as me, 6'6". In high school, we were both 6'6", one in the 170s, real tall, skinny guys. He is now 380 pounds, just jacked up, like roids, huge. And I'm still skinny. So there is a way to get big like that.
Well,
But
it sounds like you. It sounds like you said
juiced.
the way roids. All right. Well, yeah. So we can talk more about this some other time. Do a health and wellness thing. Maybe we can have a guest on about health and wellness. Because I think that's important for people to do. I used to host a podcast about that, so I can swing with the best of them. We do need some healthier conservatives. Yeah. So Chris Christie, get on it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed speaking with y'all. For all those listening and watching, down below where Charles will point, there is some subscribes, some notifications. Share this with friends. It is the easiest way for us to grow. What are you pointing at?
I copied him too. Like I should have done that.
Help us grow. Share with your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad, especially your boomer dads and uncles. We want them to listen. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.